Nope. Nope. No, it ain't Bernie, it is you. It must be you.
Unsurprisingly, the mainstream media continues to ignore Bernie Sanders despite the fact that he is drawing massive crowds already. And really, the race for 2020 hasn't even really started yet. But he was in Brooklyn and Chicago this weekend. I'm going to show clips from each of the events. First up, I'm going to show a short clip from Brooklyn. This is just him talking. In the Chicago clip that I'm going to get to, I'm going to show a lot more of what was going on there. But here is just a taste of what happened in Brooklyn.
We will no longer stand idly by and allow 3 families in this country to own more wealth than the bottom half of the American people. And today we say to the pharmaceutical industry that you will no longer charge the American people the highest prices in the world by far for the medicine they desperately need. We are going to end the international embarrassment of the United States having more people in jail than any other country on earth. Instead of spending $80 billion a year in jails and incarceration, we are going to invest in jobs and education for our young people. No more private prisons. No more profiteering from locking people up. No more war on drugs that has destroyed so many lives. No more keeping people in jail because they are too poor to afford cash bail.
All right, so that was just a taste. And look, Bernie, now it's been over a week, but in a week, the Bernie Sanders campaign raised $10 million in mostly small dollar donations, averaging $27 a piece. And on top of that, that isn't even really the most impressive number. The most impressive number is the fact that he's already reached his goal of signing up 1 million volunteers across the country. And those 1 million volunteers are in every district in the country. So Bernie already has boots on the ground in every county for this 2020 campaign, which again hasn't even really started yet. And another factor in there, 39% of the donors of the $10 million were new donors. So not only is Bernie reaching out to his existing base, but he's also growing it. And he continues to grow it. So under the 1 million volunteers, 320,000 of those volunteers were not on the original campaign. Again, showing you that this isn't just simply a continuation of the 2016 campaign, but he's actually growing it and expanding his base from what it was back then. This is clearly the front runner in the 2020 race. Yet if you turn on CNN or MSNBC or Bloomberg or any of these other outlets, they will barely even mention him. And when he is brought up, they'll say, oh, it's just his existing base. He still has issues with race and minorities. All complete crap. So let me show you, here's a bit of a longer clip from his Chicago rally. And I'm going to show you actually a piece of everybody that was there before Bernie went on stage, as well as a chunk of Bernie's speech as well. So check this out.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Destiny Harris. I am a Black, queer, low-income artist, poet, woman, resistor from the west side of Chicago.
They called me last night, and I said, what do you want me for? And they said, because you went to school with Bernie.
My name is Ashley Galvan Ramos, and I am the youth representative on the board of Logan Square Neighborhood Association.
Please welcome co-founder of Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream and campaign finance activist, Ben Cohen.
Wow, Chicago is rocking tonight. Bernie Sanders has a simple moral vision for America's future. Instead of spending $6 trillion on endless wars, we need to invest in healthcare, in education, in infrastructure, in clean energy, in every community across America.
Being a first-generation college graduate at the University of Chicago, he understands what the movement for civil rights, for racial justice and equality means. He was in that fight. But it's not just about what he did way back then. When some of you in this room were not even born, it is also about what he does right now in this moment with the power that he has. He could have easily, sisters and brothers, I want you to hear me, he could have easily stopped his work after the campaign in 2016, but he did not do that. This is the man who was on the front line with striking Verizon workers. This is the man who stood up with the Marriott workers. This is the man who stood up to Amazon and said, you will pay $15 an hour.
It is nice to have a gathering with a few friends. We're not only going to defeat Trump, we're going to transform the United States of America. Nope, 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 nope. No, it ain't Bernie, it is you. It must be you. The principles of our government will not be racism, sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, and religious bigotry. Laquan McDonald, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, Rekia Boyd, Eric Garner, Walter Scott, Freddie Gray, and many, many others, people of color, killed by police who should be alive today. Furthermore, we know that African Americans are twice as likely to be arrested and almost 4 times as likely to experience physical force in an encounter with the police. Today, as billionaires and large corporations have attacked unions, destroyed pensions, deregulated the banks, and slashed wages, we have succeeded in raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour in state after state and city after city. If we understand that there really is no such thing as a red state or a blue state, but that we are a nation in which in every single state the majority of working people are struggling hard to provide a decent life for their kids. If we stand together believing in justice and human dignity, if we believe in love and compassion, the truth is there is nothing we cannot accomplish. Let us go forward together. Thank you.
All right. Voting is a year away. The first state doesn't vote until a year away. And look at these crowds already. So in Brooklyn, he had 13,000 people. In Chicago, I think the estimate is around 12 or 13,000 as well. Look at these freaking crowds. This is insane. So this is, again, and when you look at the crowds, these are diverse crowds. A lot of young people, yes, because Bernie excites a lot of young people to get out and become active in the system, but it's a diverse crowd. So when he holds these rallies and when he talks about these issues, I mean, he brought up, you saw there, he has union leaders, he has activists of all races, He has Nina Turner-Rokana, strong advocates of Bernie Sanders. He has, go down the list. Bernie Sanders is touching on all of the major issues, all the important issues that any presidential candidate should be talking about and more. He is pushing issues like wealth inequality that other candidates just cannot speak to because they don't have his track record or his balls. This is a guy who is naming names, taking on the establishment, naming names like Amazon, like Walmart, talking about the greed of these corporations and of these billionaires. You will not see Kamala Harris or Cory Booker or even Elizabeth Warren in many cases. So Elizabeth Warren, look, is much better on these issues than, for me, she's easily number 2 in this race. But even Elizabeth Warren on an issue like Medicare for All, she is not strong on Medicare for All like you would expect a progressive candidate to be. Bernie Sanders is unafraid. Bernie Sanders is taking on the powerful interests, and he understands that he's only able to do that with the support of the people behind him. Again and again, you'll hear him talk about, look, this is not about me, this is about you. Change doesn't happen from the top down, it happens from the bottom up. He understands how activism is what moves policy. So what he is doing here is building a movement of activists, building a movement of people that if he were to become president, he will have the power of the people behind him in order to actually change the rules in favor of the people over the powerful. That's what any presidential candidate should be doing. All of these campaigns, if they actually want to be successful, they need to understand that it cannot be about just them. They have to be able to communicate that it is about the people, that real change does not happen unless people are motivated and activated. So when you have a group like this outside of the White House supporting, say, a President Bernie Sanders, and on top of that, you have a President Bernie Sanders, when you have activism inside and outside the White House, that's how you enact real change.